Okay, we will start, I think. Okay, so oh, mm, Om Badram Karne Vishunuyama Devaha Badram Pashye Makshabiryajatraha Sthirairangai Tuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Okay. So last class we saw Kamanya Kamayate Manyamanah Na Kamabirjayate Tatra Tatra Paryapta Kamasya Kritatmanastu Ihaiva Sarve Praviliyanti Kamaha. Basically, the last mantra told us that people who desire will go after desire, whatever desires they have, and such of those who are able to develop a deep desirelessness in them, that is the only way to liberate. Otherwise, the set of desires will take us through Punarjanma. That is what the last mantra of Mundakopanishad. And so in this third chapter, the final section, as I was mentioning last class, the Upanishad is winding up with a few additional, I would say, either helpful hints or some cautions, those kinds of a few instructions, so to say. So in that set of instructions, today we will see two mantras. So the third mantra of this section, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yeme vaisha vrinute tena labhyah tasyaisha atma vivrunute tanum swam. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shrutena Yeme vaisha vrinute tena labhyastasyesha atma vivrunute tanum swam. So this is all in negatives. So let us do a padacheda. Na ayam atma. That becomes na ayam atma. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyah. Na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. So there are three na. Na means not by this, not by this, not by this. So the first line of this mantra tells these three will not fetch you. So that is what it is coming to. We will see that. Then yam eva eshaha vrinute yamevaisha yam eva eshaha vrinute tena labhyah tasya eshaha atma vivrunute tanum swam. That eshaha, that visarga in sandhi, it has become lopa. So when you do a padacheda, the visarga comes. That is why you have yam eva eshaha vrinute tena labhyah tasya eshaha. So there are two eshaha there. In sandhi, it becomes esha. Okay. So it says, na ayam atma pravachanena labhyah. This ayam atma is this atma, which is talking about that ultimate Brahman, that ultimate realization. So it says, na ayam atma pravachanena labhyah. You don't get it by just discourses. You know, it says mere pravachana will not get you. So that is the first thing it says. That labhyah is for all. That is the only verb there. So that verb covers all the other things there. So when you say labhyah, na labhyah basically, because na does not, we do not get, then the question is, what do we not get? Ayam atma. Then in which way we will not get? Pravachanena. So that is how the first half of the mantra is. Na medaya labhyah. So it is not attained by the medha shakti. Medha shakti is actually dharana shakti. Our ability to, retain, let's say, mantras. There are people who can retain number of shlokas. They can retain a vast amount of information in their brain. So that is the medha shakti. So it says, na medaya labhyah. The second thing it says is it is not attained through medha shakti also. Then third it says, na bahuna shutena. So by hearing many different things, right? So by hearing different things, or if you take the shruti also, then it should be shrutya actually. So it is not shruti. Then it will become a shruti. Bahuna shutena is by hearing more and more about it, we don't get. So that's what it is saying. By hearing more and more about it, we don't get. By, let's say, doing discourses or attending discourses, whichever way you want to take it, it's not available. You cannot get it. Na medhya, by our dharana shakti also, we will not get it. That is the first line. The second line says, yam eva yeshaha vrinite. That one whom we are actually, longing for, wanting to have. Tena labhyah, only such people will get. So only such people who have a deep desire for Brahman, deep longing to get Brahman, only such people will get labhyah, tena labhyah. By such people, this will be finally attained or something. Tasya yeshaha atma vivrunute. To him, tanum swam vivrunute. Vivrunute means reveals. So yeshaha atma swam tanum, its own true nature, vivrunute tasya. To him, it actually reveals its true nature finally. So that is how this mantra is. So basically, what it is saying is, there are people, this is a very, there are quite a few issues here. First of all, then the question is, what is the use of all these pravachana then? Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyah means then, then why do you need all these? That's a question that will come. Then because there are people who, hop from one to other, and they keep on listening more and more discourses. They keep constantly attending such kind of, spiritual lectures and so on. So in a way, this mantra says, no, 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 you won't get it through that route. Essentially, then it actually puts a big question mark on whether do we need all these. Then namedaya. So there are people who are able to retain lot of mantra. I know people who can just like that recite the entire 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita at any time you ask. They will be able to very easily, recite and so on. So then the question is, well, is there no value? Then should we not read Bhagavad Gita at all, or any of these scriptures? That kind of a question also comes. And is there no value for listening to different things? So that is not intended through this mantra. So in no way it is actually trying to give that kind of an impression. In no way it is trying to suggest that all these are not required or anything like that. Essentially, what it is basically saying, I am reminded of one episode, because maybe that would sometimes communicate this better. There was one Devaraja Mudaliar, who was a well-known personality in Chennai in the 19th century, early part of 20th century, I think mid 20th century, and so on. So this Devaraja Mudaliar, one day he went to Ramana Maharishi, and he told Ramana Maharishi that I have been reading Bhagavad Gita for so many days. Nothing is happening to me. Why is it that nothing is happening to me? So Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi looked at him, and apparently he said that, he said in Tamil, but let me, put it in English. Essentially, the essence of what he said was, you have been looking at Bhagavad Gita, in the sense you have been looking at the book and perhaps reciting or reading, whatever. So you have been looking at Bhagavad Gita, but the Bhagavad Gita is all the time telling, look at you. So that is how he answered. So essentially, what is happening is, essentially what it is saying, see, look at here. Here it says Medhaya. Then it says Bahuda Shrutena, by hearing, or Pravachanena, by discourses and so on. All these are what I call it as Indriya Vyapara. These are transactions we do with our Indriyas, right? I would even say Antakkaranas and Bahishkaranas. Antakkaranas are the Medha Shakti, the mind, the Buddhi, Chitta, etc. And the Bahishkaranas are the Pancha Indriyas. So all these are Indriya Vyapara. These are transactions. This first line is talking about potential transactions that happen with our instruments, Antakkaranas and Bahikaranas and so on. So essentially what the Upanishad is trying to say is, as long as we are able to deal with the world of the body, mind, intellect complex, which is one part of us, it is like a gadget. It's like a sort of an equipment that we have for transacting. So as long as we are at that level, we are only transacting at the body, mind, intellect level. That's when you will have Pravachanena, Medaya, Shrutena, etc. That means we are still operating within a domain of finiteness, because these are all upadhi. These are all constraints for us to, for some limited purpose of worldly transactions and so on. So if we keep operating at that level, that means we will continue to be imperfect. And of course, there is a sense of, limitation and finiteness and those kinds of things. So when we are operating at that level, what this mantra is saying, if we are able to limit our abilities to only up to this level, then we are operating in a domain of finiteness. How can we actually comprehend an entity, an idea which is said to be infinite? Anadi, Ananta, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So you cannot comprehend the infinite with finite. So that is how this needs to be understood. That what this line is saying, the Shruti is saying, that don't restrict ourselves to only these kind of things. That means while it may give some ideas, while it may create some rough understanding about, so it is all about it. It is not it. It is not the Brahma Padartha. It is about the Brahma Padartha. What does Pravachana does? Pravachana only talks about Brahman. It is not giving us Brahman. It's not like, if you have think of having laddu and talking about laddu. If you talk about laddu, you can keep talking about laddu. If you have laddu, you can experience laddu. You can have it, or Krishna Janmashtami, you can talk about so many Chapan Bhog also. So the difference is between having it or knowing about it. So knowing about it can only take us up to a level. Beyond that, it cannot. We will just not reach anywhere by knowing about it. So knowing about it is okay, but Padartha will not be available to us. So that is what it is saying, because we are operating, knowing is a matter of operating in a domain of finiteness. And finite can never become infinite. And vice versa. Infinite also cannot become finite. So if you want that Purnatva, if you want that complete sense of fullness, then we have to experience the sense of fullness within us. So that is what this mantra is actually trying to tell us by the first line. Then the second line says, Yameva eshaha vrinute. So then how do we get? Then it says, Teshaha atma vivrinute tanum swam. So the ultimate, that all knowing, omnipresent, that infinite Brahman will reveal its true nature only to these people. To which kind of people? That is given in the first part. It says only those who long for it, who deeply desire for it, who actually are looking for it very deeply and very seriously and so on. For such people, it reveals its true nature. So that is what it is saying. So essentially what it is saying is, while Pravachanas, our Medha Shakti, our ability to constantly hear, etc., all that, while they are all very useful, they are like Tatastha. They are not Sarupa Lakshana. They are like, saying that, that coconut tree, below that coconut tree is the pond. That's all. You can't see, you don't reach the pond by really knowing it. It only gives a guidance. It only does a margadarshan. It only lays down a path for us to reach our destination. But there is a swaprayatana which is required more than this. See, look at this example. If somebody asks, where is the pond? And if there is a tatastha lakshana, See, look at there. There is one tall, banyan tree. If you go towards that banyan tree, actually the banyan tree is on the banks of the pond. So therefore you will reach the pond. Now I can only know that I can have a certain belief and a confidence that a pond exists. I have not reached the pond. That is not as good as reaching the pond. If I have to reach the pond, then there is a second step. The second step is Purusha Prayatna. I need to walk towards that banyan tree. There may be obstructions. This road may not take me to the banyan tree. It may be a dead end. Maybe I will turn right or left, walk for a while. Maybe I'll find another, road. Since I know approximately where to go, I will try to take alternate roads which will lead me there. So in the same way, this Pravachana, this Meda Shakti and Bahuna Shrutena, all these are Tatastha. They have given us the confidence. They have, given us that strength that yes, indeed, Brahman exists. And it may look like this may be the Swarupa, this may be the Anubhava and etc. That's not Anubhava as such. So that effort we have to put. And that effort comes as per this mantra. It comes Yameva Yeshaha Vrinate. That effort starts with a deep desire to attain that. And that is what this mantra is saying. Now, in other words, what I say is Kevala Antakarana Bahishkarana Vyaparat Nayamatma Labhyaha. This Atma is not obtained by this Vyapara of Antakarana and Bahishkarana. That is not going to happen, while that may be a very useful step, but that's not the ultimate step. Maybe that is what the Upanishad is cautioning us. Now again, we can go to, this idea is told everywhere. See, this is the interesting part. They say, go and attend satsanga, have pravachan, do prarthana and prayer of Ishta Devata, all that we are saying. But we are also saying this kind of utterances are also there in many of our scriptures, because it is only saying, don't get completely carried away by merely doing that, everything is over. While those are important, the Swaprayatna is also important. Let us look at Gita. Again, we can go to Gita. The same idea is available in Bhagavad Gita. So let's go. Look at chapter 11. After the Vishwarupa Darshana, what did Shri Krishna told Arjuna? Na veda yajna dhyayanair na danaihi na chakriya bir na tapo birugreihi evam rupa shakya aham nriloke drishtum todanyena kuru pravira. Na veda yajna adhyayanaihi. So you read Veda Adhyayana, you do yajna, Vivida yajna. Na danehi, you do different danas. Na chakriya bihi, do different good karma. You do different karmas. Na tapo bihi ugraihi, with strong, very tapas, all that. Evam rupaha shakyaha aham nriloke. With none of that, you will be able to get this anubhava that you got. Nriloke, in this world of human beings, Nru means janas, I mean naras. So in this naraloke, with all these efforts, you will drashtum tat anyena kuru pravira. You cannot. Aham drashtum. To see me is not possible. Same idea is being told there. What this Upanishad is saying. Further, you see what it says. Naham vedair na tapasa na dane na chejyaya shakya evam vido drashtum drashtavanasi mam yata. Same idea 5 mantras later. Once again Krishna says, Naham vedaihi na tapasa na danena na cha ijyaya, by doing yajna. With all that, na shakya evam vidaha drashtum. What you have seen, that kind of vision, that kind of experience of the Virat, the Vishwarupa, not possible. But then he, in the next mantra, he says, Bhaktya Todanya Shakyah Ahamevam Vidorjuna Nyatum Drashtum Cha Tatvena Praveshtum Cha Parantapa. So then he says, you need bhakti. Bhakti is not, just uttering mantras and stotras. That is, that's a prakrit bhakti. That is not, uttama bhakti. That is a prakrita bhakti. When you say bhaktya tu ananya shakya, you need to develop that deep desire, that extreme desire in your heart that I want to reach, I want to know you. All these great Santa Janas stories, when we read, we are able to get an idea of it. Again, it's only an idea. Experience is different from idea. So, Bhaktya Tonanya Shakya Aham Evam Vidorjuna. So, the Bhaktya that is being mentioned here is the Purusha Prayatna that I talked about. The Bahuta Shutena, na Pravachanena, Namedaya, all those are first step. But that Purusha Prayatna that I talked about, that is indicated by the word Bhaktya tu Ananya, nothing else, only through Bhakti, which means there is a strong Prayatna within. It is not outside, it's all happening inside. So that kind of a thing is very, very required. The same Upanishad mantra is actually, mentioned in this Bhagavad Gita, these shlokas that you see. Let me take you to Mahanarayana Upanishad. There is a very famous mantra in Mahanarayana Upanishad, which we all recite at the end of the puja, at the end of some great events that we do. Na karma na prajaya danena tyage naike amritattvamana shuhu pare nanakam nihitam guhayam viprajade dadyatayo vishanti Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha Sanyasa Yogadyataya Shuddha Sattva Aha Te Brahma Loke Tupara Antakale Paramritat Parimuchanti Sarve. Same idea is coming here. You just see what it is saying. Na karmana, not by merely engaging in different activities. Na prajaya, not by begetting offsprings. I mean, they are all required for different reasons, but not for this purpose. Na prajaya, danena, not through amassing wealth. It says, tyagena, ekena, amrutatvam anashuhu. So only by tyaga, by giving up all these, by not clinging on to it, you should be able to go beyond these domains of what we are familiar with. That's what it says. Parenanakam nihitam guhayam, one which is all everywhere, nihitam guhayam, vibrajate. Yatayaha vishanti, where all these people who made the deep contemplation ultimately entered into, that is nihitam guhayam. It is deep in our, cavity of the cave heart. Vedanta Vijnana, through Vedanta Vijnana, through the knowledge of Vedanta, Sunischitartaha, properly understanding deeply, this is Shravana Manana, that's what it is. And Nididhyasana. So, Sunischitartaha, Sannyasa Yogat, give up everything, learn the art of developing the dispassion. Yatayaha Shuddha Sattva. So this talks about the prayatna required to get him. Yatayaha Shuddha Sattva. You have to become a Shuddha Sattva. That purity comes by deep contemplation and desire to achieve the Brahman from within. So that's how this mantra is saying. Te Brahma Loke tu Parantakale Paramritat Parimuchanti Sarve. So finally they reach that. That's how Mahanarayana Upanishad is also saying. So this is how these different Upanishads and Gita is also saying, while we need to, attend pravachana, we need to, read stotras, we need to be in satsanga and so on. That should only inform us of what steps that we need to take at an individual level. So without that, that progress is not going to happen. So all these are coming through this mantra. Go to the next mantra. Nayamatma balahinena labhyah nacha pramada tapaso vapya lingat ete rupayeryatate yastu vidwams tasyesha atma vishate brahmadhama. Again, it has put a pair of negatives with it says, Na ayam atma. Earlier mantra also said Na ayam atma. If you see, same thing it is saying now also. Na ayam atma balahinena labhyah na cha pramadat tapasaha va api alingat. So there have va, api and alingat. That becomes vapyalingat. There are three words there. Va is one, api is another, alingat. So pramadat tapasaha vapyalingat. Va, api, alingat. That's what it says. Then etaihi upayaihi. The etaihi with sandhi become rakara. That rakara with u has become ru. That's why the ru is coming. So etaihi upayaihi yatate yaha tu. Yes tu becomes yaha tu. This vidwams tasyesha. What it happens is vidwan. The vidwan in sandhi will first na will become ma, and then because there is a takara after that, a sakara will come in between. So vidwams, what you see as vidwams is actually vidwan when you do a padacheda. Vidwan tasya yeshaha atma vishate brahmadhama. Brahmadhama, single word. So what is it saying? Na ayam atma labhyah. This again the same idea. There it said pravachanena. Here it says balahinena. It said you cannot attain Brahman if you are a balahina. If you are very weak. Now this weak is not physical weakness. Because if we understand it as physical weakness, then essentially what we will do is we'll go and buy some vitamin tablet or some kaya kalpa or some lehya or something, or have some more ghee. That is not, we'll see what balahina is. It says this particular this atma anubhava, swatmanubhava, or this realization of oneself will not happen to somebody who is weak. So let us try to understand the weakness. I am only giving a simple meaning of the mantra now. Nacha pramadat. Is pramadat. Pramada means not having alertness or not doing things intelligently. Pramada means unintelligent. Although in Tamil Bhasha, pramada means intelligent. For some reason, they wrongly used it. Pramada means unintelligent or without proper alert. I mean, in a very unalert or whatever, that fashion. So if you are not alert, if you are not intelligent enough, we will not get it. Tapasaha, not tapasa, tapasaha va api alingat. So that alingat, you'll get through tapas, but a tapas without linga. That's why alingat. So if you do a tapas tapas without linga, that also you will not get. So there are three conditions that it says with which you will, if they are not there, you won't get it. What are those? You cannot be weak. In other words, if you are not strong, you cannot get. So that's the first thing. Second thing, you need to be intelligent and alert. If you are not, if you are pramada, you won't get it. That's the second thing. The third thing that it says is tapasaha alingat. So here we'll understand the meaning of linga and tapas. They are not the normal meaning, actually. Tapas means jnanam, linga means sannyasa. So, jnana which is obtained without, dispassion will not get you. Anyway, that's what it is. We will come to it. So there are three things told in the first line. If these three things are not there, you won't get. That's what the first line is saying. Now the second line is saying, etaihi upayaihi. So with these methods, which means don't do the negative, but do the positive. That is the meaning. Etaihi upayaihi means by doing it rightly, which means don't be weak, develop the strength. So let us see what strength is later. But at the moment, we can say, develop the strength. Don't be pramada, you be apramada. Don't do foolish things. Don't be, unintelligent. Rather be intelligent. Tapasaha lingat, not alingat. You do tapasaha lingat. Obtain jnana by linga. Etaihi upayaihi. If you use these three methodology, yatate, if you make effort, yatna, you really make effort with these three upayas, vidwan, that wise person who understood it. Oh, I have to, these are the three important sadhanas for me. I should not, be found, missing in these sadhanas. So if you know the three sadhanas, then what Upanishad says is, Atma Vishate, he enters. See, enters is an experience. You become part of it. Atma Vishate Brahmadama, which is the abode of the Brahman. So here in this mantra, it talks about three things: Bala, Pramada, Balahina, Pramada, and Alinga Tapasaha. So we have to get a proper understanding of this. So let's go to Shankara Bhashya, because he uses some very beautiful words to explain this. That gets it much better. Anything else will not explain it as good as Shankara Bhashya. So therefore, let's look at the Shankara Bhashya. So Balahinena, what is this weakness for which Shankaracharya's commentary is very interesting. He says, Atmanishta Janita Virya Hinena. Person who does not have virya. Virya is vitality, right? Virya means vitality. So, and what kind of a vitality? Atmanishta Janita. The steadfast approach, the Nishta, Atmanishta, our ability to obtain a certain vitality which comes by fixing our entire consciousness, attention, etc., into the Atman. Janita, generated. That kind of a vitality, if it is missing, then that person becomes weak. So there is nothing physical here. There is no physical reference to anything physical here. So weak does not mean physically weak. Physically weak also is not good. After you have a reasonable physical strength, only you can do many things. So it's not that we need to, abuse our body or be reckless. I'm not, saying that. But I'm saying mere physical strength is not enough. We have to get a strength which is generated by the vitality that one obtains through Atmanishta. So this is his definition of Balahina. So that leaves a question for us. Question is, how does this Atmanishta Janita Virya we get? We'll address it. We'll come to it. So anyway, we need to address that part. Then Pramadat. Shankaracharya's definition for Pramadat is Laukika Putra Pashwadi Vishaya Sangha Nimittat. See, moment you get too engaged into the worldly, if you become too worldly. Now, when you say you become worldly, what it means is you care for your name, you care for your fame, you care for your bank balances overly. What I mean is, there should be a certain sense of reasonableness and sensitivity of living here. When I make these statements, don't think, don't make money, nothing of that kind I'm saying. I'm saying overemphasizing and considering that as the most important thing or the most important priority. That is the meaning. Laukika means I am too early. That means I think what we have to do in this world now is the most important thing. So you do everything for take care of it. That means we are just cheating ourselves. We are just wasting an wasted opportunity. One janma can be a wasted opportunity if you go that way. So Laukika Putra Pashwadi, of course, children and all that is required, but getting too much engrossed into it, getting extremely emotional about it, deeply locking oneself into emotions, Banda, Pasha, getting too deep into it. That's the meaning. Vishaya Asanga, sense of entitlement and attachment to Indriyarthas, these objects around us, the positions, all that kind of a thing. All these only, Shankaracharya says, make us do things which are pramada. Foolishly, sometimes we do things. We miss the obvious. We do things for which we may possibly regret after a while. Or we might have done something wrong. We might have taken 2 steps backward instead of going forward. All these can happen. Technically, all these can happen. So therefore, that is pramada. Laukika putra pashwadi vishaya asanga nimittat. Vishaya asanga nimittat. Then the third thing, tapasovapi alingat. So Shankaracharya says, tapaha atra jnanam. So tapa means jnana in this context. Meaning is contextual. So the jnanam that we get, alingat, lingam means sannyasa. So if we are not able to develop a sense of dispassion, vairagya, that's what abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate is what Krishna said in chapter 6, shloka 33. Ashamshayam mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So that vairagya is this linga. So essentially it says tapaha means jnanam, lingam means sannyasa, means developing a sense of dispassion, etc. Therefore, tapasovapi alingat means that knowledge that we get with our hands fully toiled, deeply steeping deep into the worldly affairs and so on, that kind of a knowledge is aparavidya. That's what Mundakopanishad started, no? It talked about Paravidya and Aparavidya. So that is the Aparavidya that we are talking about. So that is what it is. Vishaya spelled with Shah used for Shiva. Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, Vishaya, sir. Yeah. There's a typos there. Thank you, Uma, for pointing it. Yeah. So, therefore, this knowledge, which is very deep, but steep into worldly affairs and so on, that is not necessarily the, that is not going to give us anything substantive. So that is what it talks about. Therefore, what happens is balaha. So therefore, what are the 3 upayas that we talk about? We need to be balaha, not balahinaha, apramadaha, not pramadaha. Then sannyasa jnanaihi, the jnana obtained through a sense of deep dispassion. With these 3 upayaihi yatate tasya esha atma vishate. So for him, this particular Atman enters deeply into him, and that is what this mantra is saying. Now the question is, what is this Atmanishta Janita Virya? What is that vitality? How do we get it? Do we take vitamins and B complex for it? Or what is it? That is the next question that we need to, ask for ourselves. So let's go there. So what is this Atmanishta Janita Virya? How does one get it? Now, that strength, that internal strength which comes through this is well explained in this Sadhana Satushtaya Sampatti, which is again Shankaracharya has, in his teachings you will find in Vivekachudamani also we have all this. So what are those? Chatushtaya is 4. Sadhana Chatushtaya. So we have to practice these 4 things. That is that sampat that we get out of practicing these 4 things alone will give us Atmanishta Virya, Janita Virya. And what are those? The first thing is Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. It's very important. I mean, these are very important steps for our spiritual journey. That's why these are all very, very important. See, we cover a lot of ground in our personal evolution. We cover a lot of ground in our journey in this Atma Vidya when we are able to get this Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. We should be able to know what is permanent and what is perishable. This is extremely important. It may appear to be a very simple idea. It is not. This is a very, very important thing. What is permanent and what is perishable is very, very important. Many things in our life, whether it is power, position, respect, relationship, physical health, or peace of mind, or you name it. We should know what is permanent and what, in other words, we should know what is Satya and what is Asatya or Asat. Asatya, Sat is different. Asatya or Mithya. We should know that. So Nitya Vastu Viveka, we have to constantly ruminate. We have to constantly, contemplate, understand everything in the world around us from this lens. That is one sadhana. That will bring us closer to the Atmanishta Janita Virya. The second sadhana is Iha Amutra Artha Palabhoga Viraga. Iha Mutrartha Palabhoga Viraga. That is what it is. Iha is now here. Amutra is not here, Anyatra. What is not here, what you get elsewhere. And here and elsewhere, what are we talking about? Artha, Phala, Bhoga. The Bhoga, the pleasure and the enjoyment or whatever. Fruits of every action that we do. Phala, Artha, the riches. So, Viragaha means developing a sense of detachment towards these things, not only here, but also in some other place. I mean, this is again a very hard sadhana for us. Every one of us want to do something and we want people to acknowledge, we want people to benefit us, tell us that it is, I want to get the benefit, I will do it because I have some prayojana in that. I mean, we are so wired into it. And he says, this is another sadhana required. You should do things because you have to do. You should not do things because I will get Swarga, Amutra. I will get some benefit elsewhere, therefore let me do it. Let me do dana because by doing dana, these are rajasic. They are not, sattvic, they are rajasic. Because there is a prayojana, punar prayojana. Whereas sattvic is not that. Datavyam iti diyate taddanam sattvikam smritam. Kartavyam iti kriyate tat kriya sattvikam smritam, I can say. We are part of a society, we are part of a situation, we are part of so many things happening. I have taken a janma for whatever reasons. I go through it and I have to do what I have to do. There's no comma, there is a full stop there. Developing that mindset is very difficult. We all crave for recognition, rewards, respects. It's all part of us. And he says that has to be done. And more we are able to practice that Atma Nishta Janita Virya will come to us. That is the second. Then the third, It says Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. It's called Shat Sampat. Again, these are the 6 important, these are the real Sampat for us. These are the real wealth for us. So Shama is, the Indriya Nigraha. Bahyendriya Nigraha is Dama. See, if somebody says something to me, I shout at him, take a stick and beat him, throw a stone at him, or whatever, I bodily gesture him, all those are Dhamma. They are external behavioral responses which immediately react, etc. That is Dhamma. Shama is not even in the mental plane. If somebody, talks ill of me, I should not even, in my mind, curse him or all that kind of a thing. So it is a much softer, much a subtler version. Shama, Dhamma, Uparati. Rati is reveling. Upa is closer. So Uparati means reveling on things which are very close to us, which is the God. That is the one ultimate to us. And, Uparati means giving up these desires and things, distractions on many worldly things. Only then this will happen. So Uparati means, giving up all these small chota mota things and list of desires, etc., etc. Then Titiksha. Titiksha we have seen, Matra sparsha kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkataha agamapaino anityaha tam titiksha svabharata. Or, Sahanam sarva dukkanam in Vivekachudamani. Sahanam sarva dukkanam apratikara purvakam. Chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha rituchyate. So, developing that sense of mental equipoise. That is the 4th one. Shraddha. Shraddha means, taking what is told in our Vedas, in Shruti and Acharya Vakyas. Having complete belief in that, and that is what it is, and organize our life with that kind of a frame of mind is Shraddha, deep belief, which is, that's why Krishna said, Shraddhavan labate jnanam, ashraddha jnanascha, samshayatma vinashyati. And for him, it is neither this world nor the other world. All that we have seen in chapter 4 of Gita. Then samadhana, adana, sama adana. If we do the first 5, if you are able to reach a fair amount of success in practice of the first 5, manaha samadhiyatam, the mind will reside. What the yoga says, yoga has chitta vritti nirodha. The chitta vritti nirodha will happen, and that state is samadhana, a state of undisturbed state of the mind. So this is the 3rd sadhana, which itself has 6 in it. So that is the 3rd sadhana that he talks about. And the last one he talks about is, Shankaracharya talks about is mumukshutva. That, see, mumukshu, in Sanskrit, this is called desiderative form. Mumukshu is moksham ichchati iti mumukshu. Pipasa is patum ichchati iti pipasa, thirst. Chikirsha, kartum ichchati, I want to do something. Some people, they want to do something. That's called chikirsha. Jugupsa, I want to get angry. I want to shout. Upsa, I want to shout, which means I get angry. Bubuksha, bhoktum ichchati iti bubuksha, like that. Mumuksha is moksham praptum ichami iti mumuksha. So mumukshutva. That's what. So these are the 4 sadhanas which one has to do. If we can do these 4 sadhanas, then this Atmanishta Janita Virya we will get. Now, again, this is a topic which is very well explained. These are the real, how-to part of it, right? So therefore, these are all explained in many places. We have seen this beautifully in Bhagavad Gita also. So let me go to Bhagavad Gita and take some shlokas from there. This is in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. Again, you see here, you have, there are 4 shlokas. It starts from the lowermost. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rajavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha. Then the third one, indriya arteshu vairagyam, anahankara yevacha, janma mrityujara vyadi, dukkha doshanu darshanam, ashaktiranabhishvangaha, putradara grihadishu, nityam cha samachittatvam, ishto nishtopapattisu, mayi chananya yogena, bhakti avyabhacharini, vivikta deva shevitvam, aratirjana shamshadi, adhyatma jnana nityatvam, tattva jnanartha darshanam. Etat jnanam iti proktam. That's how it ends. That's 11th shloka. The 20 values here is another way to get Atmanishta Janita Virya. So what are those? Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, and Arjavam. These are the starter. These are the start of this whole journey. That's why Krishna puts it as the first set of 5 values. Amanitvam is not craving our life with so much of need for recognition, self-respect. People must say what I have done is good. People must acknowledge what I have done. He says, don't waste your time like that. That is Amanitvam. Adambitvam is try to be X when you are Y. So that is called Adambitvam. So don't do that. Ahimsa, of course, we know. Kshantihi, straightforwardness, that's Arjavam. Kshantihi is accommodation, a life of acceptance and accommodation. So those are the first things he says. Then he says, have Guru Kripa and start slow inward attention. Acharyopasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha doesn't happen outside. See, the first 4 are how do we behave outside. The next that you see are things start happening inside. Shaucham. Again, Shaucham is not only, bodily cleanliness. It is the cleanliness of the mind. You need some detergents to wash your mind. That's what Titiksha, Uparati, Samhadana, Shraddha, those are the detergents with which you can have a Manas Shaucham. Stairyam Atma Vinigraha. Then the says Indriyarteshu Vairagyam. Same thing that we saw there, Krishna is saying differently here. Indriyarteshu Vairagyam. Develop Indriyartha is the sense objects. That means the outside world, so many things can attract us. Try to take it without too much of jumping up and down. Anahankara yevacha, destroying the ego. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha. These are the 5 doshas. Mrityu is Janma is a dosha because Janma will lead to Mrityu. Jara, old age is a dosha. Vyadi, disease is a dosha. Dukkha is also a dosha. The distress, the unhappiness. Anudarsham, see through it. Try to understand the larger meaning of all these. These are all temporary, which will come and go, things like that. That is the 3rd stage. Then Ashaktihi. Start, there is no attachment that you need to have. Anabhivishyangaha. Putradara grihadishu. That too much of attachment with, the worldly people around us, near and dear, and so on. Nityam cha samachittatvam. In what? Ishta, anishta upapattisu. Some things are good, I like. Some things are not to my liking. Some things are not what I want. Still develop a samachittatvam. That's what he says. Equanimity and things like that. Then slowly it moves on. Then the last one, Mayi Chananya Yogena. When the first 4 tiers of this pyramid happens, then that, many of the distractions come to almost the minimum. And once all the distractions come to a minimum, then the last 3 on the top will happen. Then only the attention turns towards, the Brahman. Let's say Bhakti Avyabhacharini, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam, Aratihi, Jana Shamsadi. You don't need the company of people. No, it is not lonely, but being alone. Being alone is a very positive and a very deep spiritual idea than being lonely. Lonely is a mental stress. I am alone. That loneliness is stress. Here, Aratihi Jana Samshadi means the spiritual feeling of being all to yourself in the company of 50 people around you. That is Aratihi Jana Samshadi. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So this is another way Gita has also told us how to get the Atmanishta Janita Virya. And if you get this Virya, we will not be Balahina. We will be Bala. So I think these are some of the things these two mantras are doing. It is basically cautioning us, don't get trapped here and there. These are things which you have to take care. Otherwise, this journey may be stunted halfway. It may not be actually going anywhere. I think with this, we will come to a close of today's session, and we will continue next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shubharatrihi.